I was born in Springdale, Arkansas at the Springdale Memorial Hospital. Earl and Beatrice Mussino are my parents. My grandparents on my dad's side was Alice and Dominic Mussino, and my grandparents on my mom's side was Dora and Joe Taldo. I've got two older brothers, and one passed away a couple years ago, and I've got an older sister. I'm the youngest of the bunch. Ann, and then there's Wayne, and there's Gary. My family business is M&M Tile Company, and my father started it in 1947, him and his brother, and it's then it was all tile, but now it's got carpet and wood and vinyl, and it's just it's a family business. My mom worked there until she passed away, and all my brothers and my sister did. I've got two nephews that works there. I've got a niece, my son, my stepson. It's just a family business, really. I first started working at the family business, I guess since I was old enough to pick up a box of tile or bring out the trash. I mean, I don't really know what year it was. I just, our house was 100 feet from the business, or 50, so I was just, we all was. I mean, all the siblings, we worked when we got out of school. It's the summer break, this and that. I mean, we all worked then and worked after we got out of grade school, and school was out. We worked there till closing, till 5, 6 o'clock. I mean, it's just, my father got in the tile business. His brother, his older brother, was in it, and was doing a little bit of it, and so he was, and his name was Joe, which he was my Uncle Joe, and my father was his helper for a few years, and then got to be a mechanic, and they worked together for a long time. When it first started, the tile business was called Tontitown Tile, and it was of my uncle, which was Joe Mussino, and my father, Earl Mussino. And but then they split up, and my uncle took the name Tontitown Tile, and my dad picked M&M Tile. I'm not for sure what the other M stands for, really. I know he had a partner, Steve Maestri, and so I don't know if that was the other M or not. My job really was pretty well the only one was at M&M Tile. I mean, I did work some summers on Saturdays and Sundays at a fruit stand in Tontitown, and help planting vegetables and picking vegetables. But mainly, really, I mean, it's always been M&M Tile. I've lived next to the tile business really all my life. It was just across the road. We used to walk to work and everything, and there was a house that was there that my dad and his brother built, and I lived there after I got out of high school, and so I just walked to work. And now for the last probably 20 years, I've got a house, and it's just about probably 2/10 of a mile from work. So really, I mean, I've been close to work all my life. I remember Tontitown in my younger days. Everybody was family, or we took everybody as family, And some of the greatest times was Saturday afternoons and Sundays going to there was this bocce court on my, I called him Uncle High, which was actually Uncle Victor Chola, and which was actually my dad's uncle, but I called him Uncle too. And so I guess it would have been my great uncle. But I would go there just as a kid, and all my dad's age and older and stuff would play bocce and play cards and stuff. And I would just, I would watch them for years, and then I'd play with them, play against them. Uh, the bocce game, card game, they always played pitch. It was the name of a card game, and and then they had the Mata, it's an Italian finger game. You play it with you go up to 10, and you got one hand, and you throw out. You're playing against another person, and if you call out five, you would try to. You don't want to throw out five fingers because you combine you and the other person. You got to come up with that many. So if you throw out four fingers, you want to call 5, 6, 7. Say you throw out four fingers and you call out 7. Well, you're hoping they would throw out 3 fingers because you've got 4, they've got 3, and that makes 7. And normally you go to 11, you can go to 21 or whatever, as far as being who won. But it's just a simple, fun game. Bocce, you have 8 balls. Say you got 4 red and 4 green, or 4 black, and then you have a small one that's the size of a cue ball. If you're shooting pool, the little white cue ball, and you would throw that out uh, maybe 20, 30 feet on a court that had sand and stuff on the bottom, on the ground, sand and dirt. And you'll throw that and you try to get close to it. And if you get close to it, well, then the next person with the other balls has to get close or throw hard and knock it out of the way. But the object is being closer to the small white ball, which is the size of a pool ball. The other balls are gosh, they're probably the size of a softball, and that you're throwing to try to get close. When we would play bocce, and I watched a lot, I mean, it was all just everybody having fun. I mean, I was the youngest, and I was always there with my father was there, and I was there with the regulars, which were like Sil Cordiana and Buck Benetti and Joe Chola, Pete Tesaro. I mean, there's a lot of them. That it was always a Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon that they would get together. The other kids and stuff played baseball and stuff, but I never did. I just hung around with the older ones, and I enjoyed it. Tontitown had a couple mom and pop stores, and they had the groceries. They had groceries, and one was just mainly groceries, and the other one had groceries and hardware and stuff like that. So we would really, for a long time, just shop here in Tontitown. And then as the years got on, there was Harps in Springdale, and we would go there sometimes. And it was a lot bigger of a grocery store. One of the grocery and hardware store, it was called Tontitown Mercantile. And then the other small grocery store, it was called Claude's Place. And there was a barber shop. Really, three taverns we had in Tontitown at one time. One that was called the Quarter Horse in Tontitown, and it was just a small tavern. And then we had one that was called Woody's Place, and one that's called the Red Door, in which the Red Door is still around. It's in a different building, but it's still in Tontitown. We have one now, and we had two great restaurants. Venetian Inn was one Italian restaurant, which is still open and everything. Then there was another one that was Mary Meister's. Back then, that was, gosh, ever since I can remember, they were there when I was growing up. When we went to the restaurants, which was in Tontitown, Mary Meister's had Italian food, spaghetti and chicken, steak. Venetian Inn did too. I've always ate spaghetti and chicken. It's just, that was all my favorite. My mother on Sundays would always cook fried chicken and make spaghetti. Tontitown for so long, was a population of 200, 300, 400 people, so it wasn't a big town. I mean, now we've had for quite a few years a restaurant. It's called Mama Z's, and it's an Italian restaurant. I went to school the first through the sixth grade in Tontitown, and the school is still there. It's a 4-classroom school, and it went through. When I went through the sixth grade. My siblings went to school there. My mom did. My father did. I had the nuns. It was. I don't know. It was different. It was just. But the nuns, they were great teachers, but they were so strict. I mean, they make you listen. If not, you got the ruler spanked on your hand. But the school is still there, and it's a small school. I mean, we would have, like, in the classroom, 5th and 6th grade, and there's probably in each grade, probably about 20 people. So it wasn't a big classroom. Well, the classroom had 2 grades in it because there was only 4, and it was just a good. I mean, everybody got along good and everything. But I mean, everybody, you was either family or close enough to family and everything. And then after the 6th grade, went to Springdale, a junior high, and it was a nightmare because it was so big and so many classrooms, and everybody from Tontitown was just used to this 4-classroom school. It's just. Once we moved to junior high, I mean, went to junior high, it was so much different. I mean, it's just, and not really to the good, because we was happy in the rooms, in small rooms and stuff like that. It was some of my classmates and friends. Really, they were. I mean, everyone really in my class. I mean, there was Mark Zuppo that was in my class. All through grade school. There's Doug Zuppo, and there's the Penaltos and Sabatini, Gary Sabatini, and his sister Karen. It's just the people, the kids. I mean, we went through 1st grade, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, all together. So I mean, it was just. It was great. I mean, because you knew everybody so well, and the parents, this and that. Our parents got together a lot of times on weekends, and they played cards and everything. It was just one big family. Like the nuns, there was Sister Adrian, and she's the one actually that taught my siblings, and also taught my mom and dad. So when she was my teacher, she was probably in her mid-70s. And Then there was another one that was younger. That was Miss Alice. But the nuns, they were strict, but they were good teachers. I looked up to Silcordiana, which is my dad's uncle, and so I called him uncle. And looked up to Pete Tesaro, Joe Chola, mainly the ones I used to go to the old, we call it the old Bocce court, and they were there, and they were just wonderful. I mean, there's so many I can't think of, but I mean, they're all great people, and I looked up to so many of them. My church was the church in Tontitown, and it was the St. Joseph Church, and there still is the St. Joseph Church, and the old one just got tore down, uh, probably the beginning, sometime this year, the beginning, and which it's not been used for several years. And I forgot, I really don't remember what year they built the new church, but it's on the same property as the old church that got tore down. I mean, I don't know how to explain. I mean, it was just, the memories, I mean, of the weddings, funerals, whatever. I mean, it's all, so for so long, it's just the people from Tontitown. The church was, but there was a few that came from, that went there to Springdale, but Springdale also had the Catholic Church, and but it was a church that you knew everybody. There was Father Quinn, and he was there in the 70s, 80s, and all I mean, the priests, they were all great, all good, great people, and we loved them all. When I was a kid, for fun, we fished in the summertime, and we hunted in the winter. We hunted rabbits, squirrels. I mean, they didn't have games or places you can go at and stuff. I mean, we did have a skating rink in Springdale that we went to. I mean, uh, but mostly our entertainment. I mean, it was fun. We went fishing summertime, and for food. I mean, and mom would cook it, and their parents would cook what they catch. I mean, and then we hunted wintertime. We hunted rabbits, hunted squirrels. That there was our fun, and also, like I said, me going up to the bocce court on Saturday afternoons and Sundays. I mean, afternoons. It was wonderful being with the older people and learning so much, and a lot of them talk so much halfway in Italian and stuff. It was just really interesting. Really didn't understand a lot of it. My parents, they would get together with other parents, and they would go to dances. I mean, I would stay with my grandmother, and they go dances. Or on Saturday nights, they would several of the couples, my aunts and my uncles, and friends of my mom and dad's would get together and play cards. That's cards. They'd barbecue something outside on the grill. But my parents and the other parents, they would get together a lot to play cards. They'd go to dances. That's really the two things I remember. I remember about the Tontitown Grape Festival. I mean, it was, I'd worked there on the Coke stand, worked at the bingo some, just really wherever they needed me for a long time. And it was, it wasn't, it keeps getting bigger and bigger every year. It was more of a small, the rides and stuff, wasn't as many and stuff as it is now. They've always had the spaghetti and chicken dinner 3 nights a week, and it's always on a Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday night evening. We'd line up to to eat that, you know. But it was just a great entertainment festival. I think I've been there every year since I was born. We would celebrate the well, it'd be the families though. I mean, different families. We'd do the 4th of July. We would have picnics and actually would go to the town Springdale that's next to us, and they had a park, and we would have grilled hamburgers, hot dogs. Always would get a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken. That was the thing then. It seems like everybody mainly brought a bucket of chicken that was Kentucky Fried Chicken. The changes that I've noticed in Tontitown from when I was a kid, it's the growth, and it's at one time you knew everybody. I mean, everybody was related or close to it. Now, you know, there's so many people has moved in, other people. You don't know as many people. I mean, it's still a great town. It's there was a lot more farming back then. People had cattle, chickens. I mean, there's less and less of that. But I mean, it's still a nice little town. Tontitown has got a lot of history. I mean, it's the Italians that came over from Italy. Whenever I was growing up, I mean, you had grape vineyards everywhere, you know, and the farming cattle, chickens. I mean, there's not that much anymore. I mean, the kids went to college, this and that, and got a degree, and is working office buildings, or they're lawyers, doctors, or whoever, you know, whatever. But I mean, and moved away for jobs. I mean, it's changed a lot on that part. I mean, as far as has been as close as it was with the people. If people was to ask me what Tontitown was like, you know, I just have to say, you know, it's a wonderful small town. Everybody tries their best to get along. We're a town that's in the middle of all the big towns. I mean, east of us we have Springdale. I mean, south of us we have Fayetteville. North of us we have Rogers and Bentonville, Bella Vista. I mean, west of us we got Sullivan Springs. I mean, we're really right in the middle of all the larger towns. I mean, it's just I think a perfect place to be at to raise a family. My favorite thing about Tontitown, I'd have to say, would be the closeness we still are with people that's still family, that's not family. We're just, I mean, everybody gets along and everything. I mean, it's just a great small town. I picked Tontitown to live in because, I mean, I lived it. I guess I lived it all my life. I'm happy with it. I like it being a smaller town. You know, it's a perfect place. It's in the middle of everywhere. You know, I mean, all the other big towns is all around us. I mean, it's not as crowded. It's just a great small town.